Good evening, everybody. Agus tá fáilte rómh Hig on iDMC. Welcome to the Irish Digital Motorsports Championship and welcome back to Long Beach. We're back for the Pro Series, of course, of the iDMC winter season, and we're just off the back, of course, of the European Digital Motorsports Championship, but we're here over in the US now for there, but I'm back. We are back here for the iDMC Pro Series. Sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened, but sorting out in the background here.
Well, I'll let Jack sort that out. I'm Niall Marr, it'll be myself and Jack who'll be doing the commentary for tonight's race. Of course, this is round 7 and 8 of the iDMC Pro Winter Series here from Long Beach. Drivers are already qualifying, and we'll take you straight to that action in a minute. They're 5 minutes halfway during the qualifying time. Currently, it's Jordan Kelly who is leading that pack out. Let's just jump on board now with Jordan Kelly. Good to see Jordan back. Of course, he didn't race with us for the last round at Watkins Glen, but Jordan more or less starting back off from where he left off, which is on pole at the moment, with Josh Malin right in behind him. And Josh currently sitting second in the championship. And Josh gone well here as well. A lot of the drivers talking about just how bumpy this circuit is and how much of a challenge it's been on this tight, winding street circuit, especially there as they go through that last hairpin down onto the start-finish straight. A lot of drivers talking about as they come around this Bridgestone curve here that just that whole section of track, especially on the first lap in drivers briefing there was just a lot of concern around how the first lap was going to go, and you can see here how tight it is. Left hand side there is where they come out of the pits down into this first Toyota corner, very tight as they move their way through, and then up through this roundabout section here with the Dolphins in the background. So not a lot of room, very much like a Monaco as Josh gets it all sideways there, but you can see it's very, very, very tight and bumpy. So it's going to be a real challenge for the drivers here tonight. We've got a 21 car grid, of course it is St. Patrick's night, so happy St. Patrick's to everyone who's joined in from wherever you are around the globe, and we hope you're enjoying what you can make of your lockdown today and your St. Patrick's with the situations that we're in. But we're just waiting here to see if we can get Jack back in. Not sure what the issues are there, but I think that is the last of the qualifying right now. As we're coming down to the last 2 minutes of this. So it's currently Josh Malin there just getting in 1:18.783, just pipping ahead in front. I think that was his last run, if I'm not mistaken. It was, but Jordan Kelly there in second. So that'll be your front grid lockout with Dave Maguire. More or less your top three within the championship right now. Nicky Meredith coming in the fourth, and then Fabrizio with Arias, the third row in behind. Then we have Keith Dempsey with Robert Moore, Rory O'Shea from Jason Smith, and Sean McGovern with Michael Devaney. That's going to be a great battle to watch there. And then the VRA Racing guys, I thought they were together, of Brian McManus, Tony Stack, Ronan Doherty, Niall Murray, Johnny McMullen from Richard Faulkner, and then Jonathan Brown, Kevin Lacey, and Peter McCann. At the bottom is the timings that I have on my screen here, so we'll stick to that, and we'll see as we are into the last 2 minutes of our qualifying session. We'll see, we've still got Brian McManus out on track, so I'm not sure if Brian's pulling over there, but this should be the last few cars. Niall Murray still out, looks like he's on a flying lap, so let's stick with Niall for a minute as we ride on board. And I was saying, this track just really unforgiving in this USF 2000. It's Tata's F17 car, but very, very unforgiving around here. You can see Niall just slowing it up so much to get it out from that wall, but let's see what time Niall's going to get down over the start finish line here. So Niall unable to improve in that lap out, and I think the only car out on track is Brian McManus. So is this a flying lap? No, he's pulling over as well. So that looks the way to be the way that they're going to grid up finally. So it's Brian practicing some of his starts there, but Josh Malin just managing to get in ahead on pole by 1700ths of a second, and that's unbelievable lap actually now that I'm looking at it from Jordan Kelly. It's going to be a great race, so stick with us for that. We're just going to take a quick video from one of our sponsors, SIMUCUBE.
They say that perfection doesn't exist in this game. Most players just don't have it in them. But those who dare to seek it might catch excellence. And that sounds perfect to me. So, I'm done playing. Let's drive.
So welcome back, and there we have it. There's our grid as we head into the heat race 1. We've got Josh Malin on pole position from Jordan Kelly. Then it's Dave Maguire from Nicky Meredith. And then we have Fabrizio Rivera from Arias Yomantis. Then Keith Dempsey in 7th from Robert Moore in 8th. Rory O'Shea lines out the 9th row with Jason Smith. And then we have Sean McGovern from Michael Devaney. And let me just see if I can move this on. We can. So Brian McManus then in 13 from Tony Stack. Ronan Doherty from Niall Murray. Johnny McMullen from Richard Faulkner. And then Jonathan Brown from Kevin Lacey. And Peter McCann rounds out today's grid in 21st spot. So that is your lineup for tonight's race as we look at the starting grid of Josh McMahon. And let's see if we can get our race commentator of Jack Canan back in. I don't think so. He's saying that his PC is rebooting, but I will be your commentator then for this race as we go. It's red lights, and this is lights out as we head down into turn 1. Josh Malin has managed to get a great start away. Nicky Meredith moving up into 2nd place straight away. Jordan Kelly struggling a little bit, but look at that gaggle at the back, and this is what we were talking about. But Josh has got the ideal start. Nicky Meredith making an absolute flyer. So as we come down into this roundabout section here with the Dolphins on it, it's Josh Malin. Let's just have a look in behind. Kelly just tucked in behind the back of Nicky Meredith there, and these cars are going to be moving around an awful lot at this first 2 laps. So let's just stick with Meredith here as Murray in the background as well has taken the wheel off the front left wheel off that, so he's obviously had some type of collision. We see a big plume of smoke up in front, so all types of actions. That Jason Smith going slow as well. Peter McCann making the moves up through the field, but out in front it's Josh Malin who's pulling away from Dave Maguire now, who's managed to make that move on Keith Dempsey. But where is Nicky Meredith? Looks like Nicky's out of this race with damage. We missed what happened there as we see more drama at the back, but first lap has taken its prisoners. Nicky Meredith out. Looks like Robert Moore out. Sean McGovern, Michael Devaney, Tony Stack and Richard Faulkner all out of this race as Josh Malin pulled away with a 1:24.5. Let's drop back to Keith Dempsey. He's chasing in onto the back of Dave Maguire here as we come down in through to our first lap. David just getting a little bit wide there now. Is Keith going to try it up the inside? He has, and he's going to be able to make this stick. I'm sure he is. But David not making it easy. Is he going to come back? No. Somehow Keith's able to keep it out of the wall. As now we have Dave Maguire, Arias Yomantis, Jason Smith, and look at that, Jordan Kelly at the back of this after falling all the way back down. So that was the P2 man at the start of the race. So some type of issues for Jordan, but you can see all the different lines here. Is this track just the bumps and the different grips? All the guys trying different lines, trying to see where that grip is around this track, but all the time out in front it's Josh Malin pulling away. Let's just go back now to Peter McCann, who's in on to the back of Kevin Lacey, but Peter had a dreadful qualifying, so we're not really sure what happened there. But as we look, we've got Niall Murray out. He's out of the pits, but I'm sure that car is going slow for all types of reasons. He's out of the pits right now, but That is Niall back out. I'm not sure about Nicky Meredith. He's obviously used what we call a fast repair, so he's leaving out of the pits right now. But out in front, it's Josh Malin now with Keith Dempsey 3.6 seconds back. As Dave Maguire's coming from all types of pressure now from Arius Humantis. Excuse me, and I think that was Nicky Meredith coming out of the pits there as well. But in the background, have we had an issue?
Humantis in the wall. I am back. Sorry about all the issues there, folks, but I've just seen Humantis in the wall at turn number 1, and there was contact between himself and Jason Smith. He got squeezed into that tyre wall. Nothing that Humantis could do about that. So Jason Smith is up into 4th right now, but Jordan Kelly's now going to give him plenty of pressure to worry about. Josh Malin, though, 4 seconds clear already in this one. Keith Dempsey up to 2nd with that unreal move around the outside of the roundabout section. Dave Maguire 3rd, but he is putting pressure on Keith as well, so still plenty to watch, but plenty of casualties in that early part of the race as well, with the nature of the Long Beach circuit. But we got about half the grid are a lap down now. The rest are carrying on. Here's Jordan on the back of Jason Smith at the moment, running very close to that wall through the last sector there. Got a little bit tight for comfort there into the last hairpin. Again, he locks up a little bit, nearly goes into the back of Jason Smith that time, but gets away with it. But he's really pushing on here, Jordan Kelly, and he'll be hoping that there'll be a mistake from him in front. But at the same time, Brian McManus is also kind of closing in on them because they continue to fight. But these two, this is a great fight between Dave and Keith, of course. They represented Ireland on Sunday, but now they're back rivals again, Niall.
Yeah. And great to have you back there, Jack. I have to say my pulse has never been so high at the start of a race, but your reassuring voice came in at the right time there. I'm sure all of our viewers at home are sitting going, oh God, dear God, not Niall. But
oh, Jordan's out. I'm just
to say that, yeah.
Yeah, I think himself and Jason, I think there could have been contact between himself and Jason, but they're both in the pit lane now, and yet the rear end's missing off that Jason Smith car. So there has been contact between Jordan and between Jason. So that promotes Brian McManus up into 4th. Ronan Doherty now runs 5th. Johnny McMullen in 6th. Kevin Lacey and Peter McCann. So lads who wouldn't really normally be up around the top 10 are now getting a perfect opportunity because of all the contact. So Brian McManus in there. There's Ronan Doherty. And there is Johnny McMullen running really well up in 6th place at the moment, chasing after Ronan. Ronan Doherty's chasing after Brian McManus at the moment. He's not far off him. But the field now very spread out. There is Keith. Now he's still being chased by Dave Maguire. There's Brian McManus. Then behind there's Ronan Doherty coming up to a few lap cars. John McMullen in the 17 car. Around the hairpin he comes. Kevin Lacey a couple of seconds back, and Peter McCann P8. Rory O'Shea and Niall Murray your top 10 at the moment. But Josh Malin continues to open out the gap. 4.3 seconds it's onto, and he could be the man who takes the now may hold the most wins in this championship so far. I believe he's on for his 3rd one if he manages to continue on this current trajectory. But he's really liking this circuit by the looks of it. Really throwing this car around, no problems at all. And
he was so
keeping it
close
out of
in
the wall.
qualifying, Jack. It's surprising to see how much he's been able to pull away from this. But just look at that. The top 9 cars are have all had incidents in this race, and it just goes to show how fragile these Tatas cars are. The USF 2000s around here, any tip off the wall at all and you're gone. And I'm just looking at how hard Josh is pushing here, because nearly every corner, let's see him going through here, he's just kissing the walls and the arm codes as he's going around. Maybe he's backed out now just a little bit, but he's really on it, as you were saying. And not, let's just see here, last time around he was really close to that wall, and it is just the slightest of touches will damage that car. So let's just have a look back down. It's Keith Dempsey now in behind from Dave Maguire, and as you were saying, here's Brian McManus coming as well. So back over to you, Jack.
Absolutely. So Josh he has the fastest lap as well to boot. So but Keith Dempsey's on the same pace as him, but obviously when they're on the same pace, you can't actually make any inroads. So Josh and Keith very evenly matched here on track at the moment. But still, it's pole. He's held pole, and he's managed to hang on to this lead so far. The laps go by very quickly here in Long Beach. So we're already on lap 6, heading on to lap 7 next time by. And of course, remember the top 15 inverted for the reverse grid. So Tony Stack currently occupies the 15th spot, and that that will be pole position for the next race if he manages to hang on to that, of course. But he is chasing after Nicky Meredith, who I assume might have a bit of tactics in mind, might decide to drop back and continue to try and take that position. But kind of everyone up top has kind of remained the same. Brian McManus started 9 positions lower, and he's now up to 4th. And that car there just behind him is, I believe, Jason Smith a lap down. Then you see a couple of other ones in the middle there. There's Roland Doherty. He's up 10 places. Johnny McMullen's up 11 places where he started. So he started basically at the tail end of the field. Kevin Lacey, he's up 13 positions. Kevin Lacey and Peter McCann also up 13 places as well for Peter. And Rory O'Shea, he's exactly where he started. And he's running, of course, that special St. Patrick's Day livery with the shamrocks all over it. So great to see that from Rory.
A great speciality for today, yeah. But what can we say about Josh up in front? Like, this is a dominant lap 7, as we're into it, is pure dominance at this stage. And when you give the quality of the drivers behind him, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it really is. Josh is mega quick, and Keith is also mega quick, but they're so evenly matched, of course, that Keith can't catch him. Of course, Dave is about the same pace as well, but it was all about that opening stint that Josh managed to open out the gap as much as he could, so now he can maybe start to relax a little bit, and we'll see how that goes for him. But he's only got a couple more laps to go. He's got 3 laps to go across the line. So you see how quick the laps go. We've done 9 minutes of racing. We've already done 8 laps. So it's very, very quick around here in Long Beach. 1 minute 18 laps mostly. And Jordan has been in the wall a second time. Jordan Kelly, and that is not in good shape whatsoever. That's actually on fire. That car in the pit lane. They might need to get the extinguishers out for that. But Jordan Kelly is having a terrible day. But this is a big day for Josh Mellon, of course, because Alex Dunn not here. Jordan Kelly having an absolute terrible day. Yep. Dave McGuire is behind him, so it could be a big day for Josh to gain points in the championship.
Absolutely, Jack. We didn't actually pull up the championship points, but as we were saying, it is Alex Dunn who is out in front, but just barely from Josh Mellon. And of course, at the previous round, Jordan Kelly didn't show up, so Jordan really needed to gather up some points here to keep his championship alive. He desperately didn't want to be in the pits twice at this stage, and looking likely that he won't pick up any points. Now remember, the top 25, Jack, will all get points, so this is kind of like an everyone's a winner race here at the moment. But 50 points in the bag, you could say, if Josh can bring this home. But more importantly, no Peter Dempsey here tonight as well, so Keith Dempsey on for a good points haulage here as well. If he can keep this up, I doubt he's going to close in on the back of Josh unless Josh makes a mistake, which is looking unlikely at this stage. And you can see there he's even taken a little bit cleaner through that final hairpin onto the start-finish straight. But yeah, you're right, it's going to be very interesting to have a look at the championship points after this.
Yeah, and he just has a new fastest lap. How about that? So Josh is still pushing on at the moment, and he's lapping a good half a second quicker than Keith Dempsey, so he's absolutely flying at the moment out there. Josh Mellon, Dave McGuire lapping a bit quicker than Keith in front, but Josh is very comfortable at the moment. He's got clean air, he's got no one around. It's basically like being in a time trial session at the moment for Josh Mellon, so he's just keeping it clean, keeping it between the lines. As we go back now, this is battle for 12th, battle for 11th, yeah. So Jason Smith in front of Nicky Meredith, and that is the lapped car in front. Actually, it's a car that's a lap in front. Actually, never mind. I believe that is one of the VRA cars that is going around in front of him. So Jason Smith trying to fend off Nicky Meredith here for this position, and we'll see how he's able to do that. Of course, there was contact between himself and Jordan Kelly. Not between Jordan Kelly. Well, Ari Samanthas and himself and Jordan Kelly. So there was plenty of. He's been in the wars, Jason Smith, but he's hanging on to 11th place at the moment. Nicky Meredith in 12th, and that would put him on row 2 for the reverse grid race as well. So not a bad place for Nicky, considering what's happened.
Nicky Meredith have to do? Like, he's always super quick. He was in second place for this race. He was reeling in onto the back of Josh Mellon. Dave McGuire was all over him as well, and Nicky just doesn't seem to get the look at all, does he?
No, he really doesn't. Nicky's had one win, as far as my memory serves me, as in the Digital-Motorsports Championship, of course, back in the kind of the bigger cars of these ones. The Indy Pro 2000, he took a win in Watkins, Glen, a couple of seasons ago. So he has got a win under his belt, but it's always been unlucky for Nicky Meredith. We're on the final lap, by the way. It's gone by that quickly. Josh Mellon is in the second to last sector at the moment, and he's going to take the probably one of the more dominant wins of the season right now in this one. 5.5 seconds in front of the nearest car. There is Keith Dempsey in second. Dave Maguire, he's kept them honest though. He's kept them right in there, and he's hoping that Keith makes an error, but that might be a bit too much to ask. But Josh Malin on course right now. He's coming into the final sector. With your top three are miles in front of the rest of the field. Brian McManus 11 seconds back from Dave Maguire. But here comes Josh Malin into the final hairpin, keeping it clean through that hairpin, making sure he doesn't spin it on the exit. But it is going to be 3 wins for Josh Malin as he comes across the start-finish line. He wins race 1 of the night at Long Beach, and that will mean he will provisionally take the lead of the championship as well. Keith Dempsey, it will finish in second, and Dave Maguire gets himself on the podium, 3rd place for Dave. And then we wait for Brian McManus coming out of the last corner now, up 9 places, so well done to Brian. Great drive. Up to 4th as well, and Jason Smith will hang on to 11th versus Nicky Merritt in 12th. Johnny McMullen, top 5 for Johnny. Great drive for Johnny McMullen, and that's going to be his best finish in the series. Kevin Lacey as well, 14 places up from where he started. He's going to finish in that 6th place as well. Just kept it clean, kept it out of the wall, kept it out of trouble. And Kevin Lacey will get 6th. Peter McCann will get 7th, and Rory O'Shea will get 8th. Niall Murray in 9th, back up to 9th, and Ari Simanthas in 10th. But Niall Murray drives back to 9th.
Wheel back onto the car, and Niall Murray's somehow. But yeah, not. What way would you describe that, Jack? Not the. I'm not sure it's wrong there. Not the race we were expecting, but with Josh Malin out in front, with Keith Dempsey and Dave Maguire, Brian McManus, maybe not the results that would surprise us too much. But of course, Jordan Kelly and Nicky having an absolute shocker there in that race. So we'll look forward now to our heat race, and we'll take a quick ad break with our sponsors.
They say that perfection doesn't exist in this game. Most players just don't have it in them. But those who dare to seek it might catch excellence. And that sounds perfect to me. So, I'm done playing. Let's drive.
Yeah, of course, you can have the opportunity to win a SIMUCUBE Pro by naming your driver of this race or any of the races in the iDMC Championship. Let's see if by magic we can pull up our... I think we can, Jack. Look at that, 265, and look at that sneaking into 2nd place. Keith Dempsey now from Dave Maguire on 214. Alex Dunn relegated down to 4th in the championship now with 203, and Peter Dempsey at 172. So that makes this race all the more interesting for me. What's your take on it, Jack?
Yeah, look at that. Josh Mellon is 50 points in front of Keith Dempsey heading in this round. But look at that, Keith and Dave by a point in this one. And that was and those two were together on track as well. That was the thing. And how about Brian McManus rocking it up 7 places in the championship, up to 8th now inside the top 10. So he's done really well to get himself up there. It's very close in between. He actually could see himself maybe sneaking into 7th by the end of this one. But this is really interesting, of course. Alex Dunn not here. Peter Dempsey not here as well. So big gains that could be made. But Josh Malin now, the hard thing for him now is that he's got to start in 15th at Long Beach. So this is going to be a big day for him. But he has now got a race. He's got a whole race clear of Keith Dempsey. So Keith has got to have a clean one right now to try and bridge a gap on him. But yeah, Josh looking really good now in this one. Of course, he came close to winning the previous championship, but ended up disconnecting. I remember it at Spa while he was in the lead versus Jordan Kelly. But now he's got a real opportunity to try and finally take one.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward, because this is going to be such an important race now from the championship point of view. As we look at it, like, yes, Alex can drop these 2 races and come back in his usual form, and we expect to see him on the pace of this, but this really brings Keith Dempsey back to where we'd be used to seeing him. And as you're saying, a couple of other movers in there as well. Surprising to see Jordan really struggling, and he needs to have a race this time around. He really needs to put that car on, if not first, on the podium at least.
Yeah, of course. But of course, this race he's going to be starting 18th on the grid, so he doesn't even gain any places for this. As well as that, I think our front row man will be Fabrizio Rivera, the Italian, is going to be on pole with Roland Doherty next to him. But we'll see what happens. But Josh Mellon's going to be right in the mid-pack in Long Beach. So he's basically going to be praying that he manages to make it through cleanly. But 15 laps. But here's your grid. Fabrizio Rivera on pole with Roland Doherty, Richard Faulkner and Nicky Meredith. Watch out for Nicky. Jason Smith in 5th. Arias Imantis in 6th. Niall Murray and Rory O'Shea. Peter McCann and Kevin Lacey. Then Johnny McMullen and Brian McManus will line up in 12th place. And then just behind them should be Dave Maguire in 13th. Keith Dempsey in 14th. And of course, Josh Malin will be 15th. Outside there, Michael Devaney and Tony Stack. Jordan Kelly down at 18th place. Rob Moore in 19th. Sean McGovern in 20th. At the very back in 21st place is Jonathan Brown at the very back in the number 1 car. But Fabrizio Rivera will take the pole for this one, and we go green here at Long Beach. Rivera with an awesome getaway and a great start from Nicky Meredith for the second time today. 3 wide they go down towards turn 1, but Meredith up to second immediately as they head towards turn 1 here at Long Beach for the second time today. Hopefully they manage to keep it clean, but Meredith up the second, trying to cover off Roland Doherty on the inside, but Rivera keeps the middle of the road right now, and he leads as they head through turn 1 for the first time in race 2. Rivera from Meredith, Doherty, Arias Imantis in 4th, and it looks like, Josh Malin has had an epic start up to 10th already.
Josh, I'm just looking Niall Murray out there. I'm not sure what the incident was, whether that was contact with a car or with the wall. But what a great start.
Spinner in the back. Keith Dempsey,
like
that's Keith Dempsey and Josh Malin involved. They've hit each other, have they? Have Josh Malin and Keith Dempsey hit each other in the background? I think that Kevin Lacey is also involved in that one, but Josh will be out. Keith, and I think they've managed to become attached together, but Keith Dempsey will be out of this one as well. So that was a big incident in the background. Josh Malin losing valuable points there. He's going to tow back the pit lane. We go back to this battle right here. Roland Doherty under pressure from the Lithuanian. Arias Imantis, who goes up the inside. Jason Smith goes through in the background. He's going to go for a double move in the background there. Dave Maguire on a massive charge up to 8th place on the back of Brian McManus. He's had a great start as well, coming through the hairpin. Jason Smith up the inside of Doherty in the hairpin, and does get through and up to that position. But out front is Rivera, but Nicky Meredith, is this little bit of luck that he needs on St. Patrick's Day? Can he do it? But here we go, back to this one for a moment here as they head across the start-finish line. It is going to be Doherty gets back in front of Smith as they head into turn 1, but Rivera leads for now, but he's going to have a massive ask to keep that man behind him, and Nicky Meredith, who's only had 1 win to his name. Rivera has no wins to his name, a debut season in the championship, but Nicky Meredith, he's hungry for a win.
I'm right on board with Nicky Meredith here, and I'm just looking at how much curb that Nicky has taken compared to Fabrizio, but Fabrizio was able to pull out there. He's got a great line out to that last corner, and you can just see the different lines. I was looking at this in the practice session as well, Jack. All the drivers, near enough, but are taking different lines around the track, and I'm wondering, is that just different areas that they don't like where the bumps are, different areas where they're still trying to find grip on this track. You see not as much toe as we would have expected down the back. I think that's called the C-view drive or something down the back end of this, as they come into the left-hander, which is in the track left-hander, double apex left-hander, and then this very, very tight, almost stood up onto the brakes as they come around. Now let's see if Nicky can get onto the back of Fabrizio.
Have a look, there's a serious scrap going on between Maguire and McManus at the same time, but we'll stick with this for now as Meredith gets in the run, heading towards turn 1. He's got the slipstream, he's got the run on the Italian. The Italian is going to defend the inside line. Meredith switches back, sells the dummy, and goes for the inside line in turn 1. Lovely move. No! Nicky Meredith again! He's had the terrible luck. It's not gone his way again, and he ends up in the wall after contact with Fabrizio Rivera. What on earth happened there? But Meredith again, the luck runs out. What does he have to do?
And I'm just hearing from the stewards, they're not able to get, for some reason the alerts on the screen isn't working, but they are investigating that one, so we'll hear back from the stewards on that incident between Fabrizio and Nicky Meredith. I'm not going to make a call on it yet, Jack, but that did look like, as we were just saying, what does Nicky Meredith have to do in this championship to get a win? We go back to Jason Smith. Gaggle of cars in the background here. This is Jason Smith and Rory O'Shea. Let's stick with these for a minute, because this seems to be the closest action on the track, as Brian McManus is out in front of this group as well.
Yeah, Yeah, but the man who's on the charge at the moment, Dave Maguire, 4th place, making big inroads on the top 3 at the same time as well. Arias Imantis is the man who could be about to take the lead though, because Rivera has got wing damage because of that contact, so he's going to be struggling around. You can see this is the train for the lead at the moment. This whole big long train is the fight for the win at the moment. There's Rivera with the wing damage. Imantis has got a fantastic run. Rivera has no speed at all, cannot defend. Your new leader, Arias Imantis, in the 13 car. He takes the lead here. He's never won in Digital Motorsports either. Roland Doherty looking to try and get through as well. But the danger man for me is Dave Maguire. He's 4th place and he's just in the background a shot right there. He started in 13th place on the big charge. And a man who I need to give a mention to is Jonathan Brown. He started last. He's in the top 10.
Yeah, and of course Jonathan Brown was one of our wildcard picks for the eDMC race and really put in a stellar drive with Dave Maguire. So these two guys justifying why they got that place on the Irish team. They really drove well and they're coming here and they're showing what they're all about. But just moving back up, Fabrizio Rivera under pressure again. Let's just see, you were saying he has wing damage and you can see it there clearly. He just hasn't got the straight line speed anymore as he loses that space to Dave Maguire. Now I'm sure Brian McManus will be looking at that and thinking to himself, I'll have a piece of that as well.
Yeah, of course. Now remember the gap coming in here between Maguire and Keith Dempsey. This right now, Dave Maguire could nip back into second in the championship and could also get himself some big points. Remember, 51 points separate himself and Josh Malin, and Josh Malin is not out on the circuit at the moment. So Dave Maguire gets a win here. This could really hot the championship up heading into the next round. Brian McManus going for a move on Rivera. He's going to slot into 4th now, but it's going to be him in front right now. Rory O'Shea catching up to his teammate now. The two teammates running together. Of course, Rivera and O'Shea. Jason Smith is getting in the mix as well as they head through the roundabout. You can see just in the background as well, Jason Smith getting past Richard Falk and Jonathan Brown now into 9th place as well. So loads happening in this one. Crucially though, Keith Dempsey is also out on the circuit as well. So this is going to be points gains for both of them pending stewards' inquiries. There goes Rory O'Shea. No fight put up by his teammate. Jason Smith going to go through as well. Can he maybe do a double here? He got a great run heading out of the left-hander. Not quite. And again, Rivera defends, gives him space. Very close, but they did leave each other plenty of room to work with there. Jason Smith is now going to easily get past here down the straight as well. So nothing he can do. Roland Doherty gets in. He's fighting with David Maguire. Maguire is trying to get into second here. And 2 seconds up the road is Arias Imantis, who's trying to get his first iDMC win.
Little lock up there from Ronan as well. But that was a great move. We just caught it there in the back end of that camera. But what a move that was from Doherty to take that second place from Dave Maguire. Now Dave Maguire is going to have, of course, this overspeed as they come back down. Now let's see what this draft is looking like. Will he try it on the outside? He's going to try the Nicky move.
Yeah, goes late on the brakes. Doherty leaves him the space. Goes tries to go around the outside, but lovely move. Easily done. Easily done by Dave Maguire up the inside. And now, see, that's allowed Imantis to build about 2.2 second lead, but I reckon Maguire's got the pace, but he's got to get his head down now and try and chase down the Lithuanian out front. See if he can do it. But this is going to be interesting stuff. But this could really blow the championship wide open here if Maguire gets in the lead here, because Josh Malin not currently running around at the moment. He's 20th at the moment, but this would be a huge points gain for Dave Maguire. Even if he finishes second, remember the gap between himself and Josh Malin in the championship is 51 points. Keith Dempsey is 50 points, so he'll at least get second, but he'll close the gap by a massive margin heading into the next couple of rounds in this one. So Brian McManus is the next man chasing after Roland Doherty. Jason Smith now trying to line up Rory O'Shea, runs wide through there, gets close to that wall, but manages to continue around and keep himself clean in the background. Tony Stack on a recovery drive gets let through by Peter McCann, so Tony back going into 11th place now, with 8.1 seconds off the back of 10th place Sean McGovern. But Jordan Kelly, he's also running around, and he's just been lapped actually by that gaggle in front. Niall Murray behind him, and there's Keith Dempsey down in 15th place, and possible contact between himself and Josh Mellon. I don't actually know what happened, but now Doherty
managed, Brian McManus managed to get himself up into 3rd place. What a drive from Brian McManus that is. We didn't really get to see what happened there with Rory O'Shea, but that is Brian McManus up into 3rd. Sorry for cutting across you there, Jack, but I just seen that on the timing screen as we were talking. So it's Arias Imantis now, and as you said, Dave Maguire isn't really making that much of an inroads on that time as we would have expected, but he's got 8 laps to do it.
He's actually pulled about 0.6 in a lap, so he's absolutely flying. Is Dave Maguire 1.3? That gap, from what I can remember, I think he's actually now about to pull a second. It was 2.2, it's now 1.3. So Dave Maguire definitely has the pace up for Yamantas, but getting past is another thing. So Yamantas needs to make that car as wide as he possibly can, to see if he can maybe take an outside win here. Jason Smith trying to get past Rory O'Shea. They've also now got to deal with Jonathan Brown. He's got he's at 3.9 seconds behind. That's a lap car behind. That's actually Jordan Kelly who's on the back of these two at the moment. There you go, fastest lap for Dave Maguire, and that's 0.6 of a second faster than our man up front, Darius Yamantas. Here comes Jason Smith now in the slipstream of Rory O'Shea. Has a little look to the inside, but not going to go for it. And he has to sit behind. Once again, it's very close. Jordan Kelly rubbing that wall through there. And there's a massive scrap going on here. Richard Faulkner and Sean McGovern get past Rivera, who's just limping around right now with the front wing damage on that car.
Place, but you were right. Look at this. Maguire now onto the back of Arias Yamantas, so he's got it under a second in that lap. And I'm just looking back down the field, but Brian McManus is going really well as well. This will be interesting to see. As you said, getting onto the back of Yamantas is one thing, getting past Yamantas is a completely other situation. So let's just ride on board here with Dave Maguire.
Yeah, the big slide from Yamantas gone in there as well, so you can see that he is putting pressure on that man in front. But this is a big moment in the championship if Maguire gets past. So we have to wait and see. And net a slide from Yamantas again, so he's getting on that traction. Jason Smith does get past Rory O'Shea eventually, but now we come across the line. So Dave Maguire now has the run, lap 9 of 15, and again fastest lap, 0.7 of a second taken out of Yamantas again. But now he's got to try and get past, so he looks to the inside, shows himself in the mirrors, makes his intentions very clear that he is going to go for an overtake here, but he cannot afford to get caught up in a crash here, because that would mean spell an end to his championship hopes, of course. But you've got to keep our eye on this. This is fascinating stuff on board with Dave Maguire as he heads through Sector 2, flinging the car around. Yamantas is doing a great job, though. He has not given up. But, of course, that slipstream, so powerful here around this circuit here, heading into the left-hand and a big slide again for Yamantas. Is flinging that car around, of course. Does like his rallycross Arias, so he's been used to that here. But now Maguire, does he get that run? He's got a fantastic run out of the right-hander, 0.2 of a second off the back of Yamantas. So what does Yamantas do? Does he defend, or does he let this man through on the inside? He looks to the inside, Maguire again, but doesn't quite have the run that he needs into the right-hander. Yamantas is making that car very wide in this one, but it should be that run down into turn 1 that Maguire gets the opportunity. He's being patient here through the hairpin, gets himself through there, but again Yamantas gets a good exit out of it, gets power down very nicely out of there and gets the gap out to 0.4 of a second. We know Dave is not going to try anything untoward here, but Yamantas lap 10 of 15, he's got 5 laps to try and hang on versus Dave Maguire. But right now you can see how tough it is to overtake a Long Beach as he looks to the inside again to Maguire, but he's not close enough. Yamantas is doing a great job at the moment to make that car as wide as he can. Into the roundabout he goes, and Maguire needs to try something. He needs to fling one down the inside if he wants to get past Yamantas here, because he's just driving really well at the moment. But Maguire being patient, being measured, and he doesn't want to end up like he did in the eDMC, of course, flying up Eau Rouge, literally. So he's trying to recover from that, of course. But right now Yamantas is controlling this very well. Fair play to Arias.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking here, is Dave Maguire just looking at the back of that car of Arias, is moving around a lot and thinking, right, I've got 5 laps here, I've got a good gap back to Brian McManus of nearly 5 seconds. I reckon Arias is going to burn those back tyres out quicker than I am. And is he just waiting for that mistake, Jack? That's what I think is going on here. It's a bit of cat and mouse.
Yeah, could well be. So into the hairpin they go. Maguire needs that run out of there. But again, Yamantas gets a great exit. You can see Maguire with a big slap of oversteer on the exit. And he's actually further away than he was in the previous lap. You can see the lap times this time by as they come across the line. And you can see, yeah, Yamantas actually gained a 10th in him that time. So Yamantas is in control of this one at the moment. Maguire, he really needs to get his head down here if he wants to try and take this win. He needs to go for the overtake. He needs to commit to it in this one, but Yamantas is desperate to get himself on the top step of the podium for the first time. He's never ever won in this championship, and there you go, massive slide from Yamantas. Maybe that's what Dave Maguire was looking for. Like you mentioned, Niall, inside line again from Maguire. He needs that run out of there. But Yamantas, is he starting to struggle on those tyres? Is he overheating them as he does that? You need to be careful, of course. The tyre temp's so crucial in iRacing. Through the right-hander they go again. And does Maguire go for it? No, because this straight is not long enough for Maguire to have a go here. He's gaining as they come into the brake zone. Looks to the inside again, shows himself, but again he's not closing, but very late on the brakes going in there as they head towards the hairpin. He's closer than he was the previous times, but it's the run out of this hairpin that he has to get. He needs it. He goes wide, and again, where does he get that run? Again, Yamantas is just about doing enough to keep himself in front. That gap is half a second, and half a second is not enough of a gap for Dave Maguire to get past. Again, you can see Yamanta's personal best on that previous lap, so he's improving and improving and improving. So having Maguire behind him is actually giving him a little bit of a push on in this one. And I'm just looking in the background, actually, Brian McManus, his third place is also under threat from Jason Smith, who's catching up to him quite quickly. But we'll stick with these lads.
Yeah, and we're looking at that, just to your point, Jack, it's down that start-finish straight where Dave really needs to get that power down out of that hairpin just to get that run down into turn one. He doesn't seem to have the answer. Well, Arias has the answers for every move he's been making around every other part of the track. So, as I was saying, I thought he was playing cat and mouse here and waiting for Arias to make a mistake, but Arias just going faster and faster, and he's able to somehow get that power down just a little bit better without lighting up the back wheels out of that hairpin and manage to carry it all the way down the start-finish straight.
Yeah, and the crucial thing is Yamantas is not making a mistake. He is really pushing this on as they come into the hairpin again. You can see he's having to force Maguire to go wide, but Maguire with a great exit that time. Look at the gap now, 0.3 of a second. So Maguire, has he sorted it out? He's got the run as they come down towards turn one. Is he close enough to go for the overtake this time? He has to go for it soon. There's only 3 laps left in this race. Here comes Dave Maguire. He's got the run. He's got the overspeed. Does he have to go for the overtake now? Inside line, Yamantas very late on the brakes. Round the outs, Yamantas hangs on to it. Maguire can't do it. Yamantas hangs on for dear life on that outside line. So Maguire is really having to work for this one. Yamantas is driving brilliantly out in front at the moment, putting up a great defensive drive. But Maguire now, he has it in his head what he needs to do on the exit of that hairpin now, and he is closer round this lap than he was before as they come into the left-hander now. What does he do? How does he get past this Lithuanian out front who is desperate for a first win in that 13 car, the 6th car of Dave Maguire, trying to go for a second victory in this championship? Down the back straight they come once again. Maguire is closer than he was previous time. He's got a good run as they head into the right-hander. Does he go for an overtake now? He moves to the inside line, but he is not close enough. Into the last sector they come. We're getting great overhead shots as they come in here, but it is this run through here that Maguire needs as McManus loses a spot to Jason Smith, who moves on now to the podium, and Maguire on the power nicely again through there. He's got the 0.4 of a second gap, but that wasn't enough last time. 2 laps to go at Long Beach. This is going to go down to the wire, I feel, between Maguire and Yamantas. Across the start-finish line they come. Is Maguire close enough to go for it this time? He's closing in on Yamantas, but he is not close enough. That is not enough to go for him. He goes for a late launch. Yamantas leaves him room at the last minute, but again, Yamantas is still just about enough in front to keep himself in the lead of this race. Brian McManus, by the way, he's gained that 3rd spot back, so he's now managed to secure himself a 2-second lead over Jason Smith. We are not going to move our eyes from this battle between Dave Maguire and Arias Yamantas. This is a crucial battle in the championship as well. Maguire gaining massive points on Josh Malin, who of course took the win in the first lap, and it's a mistake from Yamantas again. Maguire gets a great run as they come down to the left-hander. Doesn't go for it now. He moves to the inside line, but again can't quite get that. Yamantas loses it. Maguire's hit him. I don't believe it. They've made contact in the last lap, the second to last lap. McManus will lead as they come across it here. I don't believe it. Maguire's thrown it away. Huge day in the championship, and he's thrown it away. Well, with Yamantas hitting the wall, he collects him, and Brian McManus is in the lead at Long Beach with 1 lap to go, but Jason Smith is harrying him down. White flag will come in the air this time by Brian McManus is leading this one with the white flag in the air. Jason Smith is in the background. He maybe can smell a win here in the last one, but that is unbelievable. So unlucky for Dave Maguire, getting caught up with Arias Yamantas in the right-hander. Yamantas lost it. He bounced back into the path of Dave Maguire, and Maguire will not score points today in this one. And McManus has hit the wall. McManus has hit the wall as they come through the first corner. He's struggling with damage. Jason Smith will have seen that. Can Jason Smith get himself past? Jordan Kelly is sandwiched between him here. Team tactics at play for VRA Racing. Jordan Kelly is trying to defend McManus from the attack of Jason Smith as they come through turn 1. This is unbelievable. This is one of the races of the season right here. Look at Jordan Kelly. He's trying to block Jason Smith without having, and actually, no, Smith has spun it. He's made a mistake, and McManus is still in front. Rory O'Shea is going to take second between them as they come fighting through there. You can see that. Oh no, Rory O'Shea's put it in the wall. I don't believe it. And look at this. Jonathan Brown is going to get on the podium from 21st on the grid. I don't believe what is happening at Long Beach today. But it is going to be, we will go back to the front. How about this man, Brian McManus, coming through the last corner. Jordan Kelly pushing him through the last hairpin. That is unbelievable. I've never seen that. Brian McManus wins at Long Beach. He wins the feature race with damage. Jason Smith is second, and Jonathan Brown from the back of the grid. Oh, Rory O'Shea's put it in the wall in the last corner.
Oh
Sean
my God,
McGovern
he has.
across the line without a wheel. Sean McGovern will get 4th. Richard Faulkner 5th. Rory O'Shea's limping across the line with no wheel on the front. He gets 6th. Tony Stack, Peter McCann, Rivera, and Yamantis. But Brian McManus has won this race at Long Beach.
I'm hearing
damage
from the
on the front of that car.
They're having a look at Jordan Kelly with the blue flag. So we've missed. I think we missed Brian McManus doing his lap 15 donuts, but there is an inquiry into that. So I'm not sure. I can't keep up with that, Jack. I just don't know what to say or what's actually happened there. So that's let's see if we can actually get the official results. It won't be up just yet, but it is Brian McManus from Jason Smith from Jonathan Brown, which I have on my screen. And as you said, Sean McGovern capitalising over Rory O'Shea. I think he stuck it into the wall coming around that last hairpin. But yeah, what can we say about that? Two unbelievable races. I think we're going to have to go down and talk to all these guys about St. Patrick's Day and what they were doing all day, because it did look a little bit that way at times, didn't it? Maybe a bit too much celebrating.
Possibly, yeah. Well, we hear from reliable sources that Dave McCoy's done well. He almost got a win, but that could have been a turning point for the championship. Josh Malin, I think, has got away lightly there. But there you go. Who could have predicted that podium? Brian McManus winning for the first time this season in the iDMC. Jason Smith and Jonathan Brown. He's come from last on the grid to a 3rd spot, and that's his first podium in the championship as well. So well done, Jonathan. Sean McGovern, Richard Faulkner, Rory O'Shea, Tony Stack, Peter McCann, Fabrizio Rivera, and Arias Yamantas ended up 10th. And Dave Maguire, he did cross the line for 11th. So he did manage to get across the line for 11th. Jordan Kelly, Ronan Doherty, Keith Dempsey, Rob Moore, Niall Murray, Kevin Lacey, Nicky Meredith. And then further down, of course, we'll see the name of Josh Malin listed as 20th in this one. But that might have been that's one of the craziest ones I've had.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We're just trying to see if we can get the overall championship points here, but I don't know what to say. Let's just have a look if we can get this. Don't think this is going to make sense for us at the moment, Jack, but we can't get the championship points up there. But let's see if we can get a couple of guys in for some interviews, which would be, I'd say, a bit of fun on on St. Patrick's Day. So let's see if we can get that joined up. We'll see if we've got a Brian McManus here, and we usually get Keith Dempsey in, but I can't even think who else we could bring in. Let's see if we've got Brian just for a minute there. Brian McManus, are you with us for an interview?
How it?
Well, what do you make of that? Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, that was savage. I wasn't even going to do the race. Like the lads are like just convinced me to do it. I didn't do any practice or anything. I just did the 30 minutes before coming into the race. Like to get P4 and a win is savage. Good point.
Yeah, savage points. We're just trying to calculate this overall at the moment. But talk us through it, Brian. From your point of view, it was really a race of two halves, that feature race.
Yeah, like I was a bit off. Like I was trying to just stay ahead of Jason Smith all the way through the race because I knew I didn't have the speed. Like so, and then just cars just kept dying all around the place, and I just nice and clean, just running the car about 90% for the whole race, and paid off in the end. I couldn't believe when I seen David Maguire and Jamantis off. That gave me the lead then, and then I was going into the T1 on the last lap, and I just clipped the wall, damaged the wing, and lucky enough, Jason just made a mistake a few corners later.
We're just gonna see if we can bring up the championship points here. Like, can you see that, Jack? At the moment, it looks like you're up to 7th place on that one. I think that is right, actually, Jack. If you can see the screen there, so yeah, still Josh Malin in first from Dave Maguire on 2:33 and 2:31. But Brian, this sees you up to 7th place, up 8 places. I think that's the biggest gain from this race, in behind Peter Dempsey on 172. So not a bad race
Not
rating
a bad
for
race
yourself.
at all, yeah, because it's a bad championship so far. This one really kicking off now, so it's good. More motivation for the next one.
I don't think we've got. I'll see if we can get maybe Keith or. So, but thanks for joining us in here at the moment, Brian. I'll drop you back down. We've got Josh Malin there. We'll drag Josh in. Jack, I'll let you interview Josh.
Yeah, it always seems whenever Josh is here, he's had either a really good race and a really bad race together. So I'll chat with Josh first. Josh, I mean, lights the flag in the race one, and then obviously starting 15th in the feature. Yeah, just talk us through what happened in that one.
Yeah, it was my fault. First off, I'd like to apologise to Keith for that. I totally misjudged the fact that people in front were checking up. So I braked later as hard as I could, and unfortunately, I didn't quite hit him on my screen. But looking back at the replay, I think I would have hit him anyway. So I apologise for that, Keith. Wasn't ideal situation, but yeah, no, got a good start in the second race at least. But other than that, I think it was pretty dismal.
Yeah, well, just having a look at our championship points here. This is pending drop rounds, of course, but still managing to hang on to the lead of the championship at the moment. So that's still something good coming out of today. But there's not too many rounds left. We still have to calculate the drop rounds, of course. But you came close last season to winning the championship, but you've got 43 points heading into the next few rounds. Do you think you can wrap it up finally? Do something?
I'd like to think so. I just need to keep my nose clean now. I think I should have been more aware this race. I can be quite critical of myself. So the second race is probably one to sort of try and skip and forget about, move on to the next one, because I should have kept my nose clean and not had any incidents. But hey, hindsight's a wonderful thing, and we move into the next race.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we look forward to that in 2 weeks' time. Josh, thanks for hopping in. As always, congratulations on your race 1 win. Commiserations on race 2. But we'll chat to you in 2 weeks, hopefully.
No, cheers, Jack. See you later.
See ya.
We've got Jason Smith here, but I'm just trying to think. Will we go with Jason Smith?
It's up to you. It's your interview.
Yes, he's in the interviews room, so we'll bring in. I'm not sure, but Jason Smith, are you there?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
How you doing, Jason? Yeah, we say we just pull you in. Not the heat race. You would have wanted 11th place in that race, but then in the feature race, 2nd place behind Brian McManus. I'm sure you weren't expecting that at the start of the feature race. Talk us through it from your perspective.
Yeah, it was a good race. I actually got up into 3rd, and I was like, "Oh, grand now." I'll sit behind these lads, try catch them, and then I made a mistake going past Arias, and then I went back to about 6th, I think, and then I just started working my way through, and then I got past a few of them, and I got on to Brian, and I was catching Brian, and then I actually got by him, and then we had it coming together, so that was kind of it. So. And I just had damage, so I kept on going.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. What was the damage on the car? Was it to the front of the car? Were you losing air or losing grip? What was going on?
I actually had damage on the first lap as well. I don't think Richard seen me and he just clipped my wing. So, and then I got onto Brian for the second incident, and the rear was when he hit me in the rear, left rear. It was kind of damaged a bit, and I was kind of understeering everywhere, and the back end was going out on me. So.
Yeah, well, a great race, and congratulations. We were saying a nice championship set of points for you after this race. You're currently sitting up into P8 now, so you're 4 places on 154 points, just behind Brian McManus. So we look forward to seeing how that championship matures over the next coming round. So anyone we want to give a shout out to on St. Patrick's Day before we let you off, Jason?
Yeah, just Digital-Motorsport. It's just one of the best championships out there, and just thanks for setting it up.
You're more than welcome, Jason. Look, we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks' time for the next round. Jack, I guess there's little else to say besides happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone who's tuned in tonight to watch us. Thanks. We can see all the comments coming in there. Congratulations again to Josh Mashmillan, I was going to say. Josh Mallon and Brian McManus are 2 race winners. And we'll just give a big shout out as well to our sponsors, of course, who are made up of Shoreway Group, SIMUCUBE, SimTag, and of course this race, iDMC Race Series, brought to you in association with Motorsport Ireland. So we have been Niall Maher and Jack Coonan, your commentators for tonight's race. Jack, I'll leave it over to you to sign us off, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, we certainly will. Of course, one of the craziest races, one of the that will certainly go down in the history books and the stewards books for sure. But we'll be back next week, of course, for the ProAM. So the ProAMs have also got a drive around here as well. So looking forward to seeing how they deal with that as well. But we'll be back in 2 weeks' time for the Pro Championship, of course, nearly coming to a conclusion. So we're nearing the end of this championship. Looking forward to wrapping that all up. But
I'm
from all
really
of us
looking
here,
forward to that one, Jack. Just before I cut off, like Laguna Seca is probably my favourite track in iRacing, and I think it's going to be the best race we have. So make sure and sign in for that. And just as well for our competition, before I leave Jack to sign off, make sure and get your driver of the race in to win that awesome SIMUCUBE Pro. What I do to get one of those, great prize. All you have to do is just name your driver of the race for any of the iDMC series, and join us, as we were saying, next week for the ProAM series, and on the 24th it's on to Laguna Seca. So, Jack, I will let you sign up this time, and we'll get back onto our St. Patrick's celebrations.
yeah, absolutely. For anyone, of course, we're all celebrating at home this year, but yeah, make sure to have a few tonight, because I think we need it after that. The drivers certainly do after that one, so I'm sure there'll be plenty happening tonight. But from all of us here at Digital Motorsports, Bannaty Law Ila Porrig Díobh, August Slongafol.